Hi everyone, how are you? This is holistic therapy. It has been so long. The last time we were shooting was like 5 months ago. I'm so happy to have you back, and you are back like we never left. I usually tell you that in holistic therapy, you never come here and then you leave the way you left. You come here, you learn more about self-care, you learn a lot about grief, you learn more about how to handle yourself, self-awareness, because that is the core of psychology. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology and a bachelor's degree in economics and psychology from the University of Nairobi. And as I told you the other time, I am going through my PhD, and my offices are in Thika Town. If you come to Rafiki House, I think I've said that like 1,000 times. Today, we are talking about depression. If you look at the statistics, 4 out of 10 people in Kenya are depressed. So it is good to know that people around you, there's a probability you have a family member, there's a probability you have a church member, there's a probability you have a friend who is depressed. So it's good to know that people will be projecting a lot to you. You can also be sick, so you'll be projecting a lot to other people. So it is good to be aware of your environment so that you don't make other people sick, and also other people don't make you sick. So as we learn about depression today, because we have guests with me, there are 3 things maybe I would like to mention. One, if you are depressed and you have depression and people around you, they are depressed, know that you are not alone. And secondly, it is good to know that self-care is important. And lastly, it is good to know that depression is treatable, and especially if you can attach it to something, because we are living a time when there's a lot of losses. We are recovering from COVID-19. There's a lot of losses that you are going through. So it is good to know that you are not alone. If you are feeling down right now as you listen to this video, you are not alone. The condition you have, someone else has, and they are managing through. So like we told you the other time, just don't cope the wrong way. Don't get into drugs, don't get into illicit sex, don't get into hopelessness and doing hopeless things, because there is hope. So today I have 2 guests, and one of them is a person who has a story of recovering from depression, and it was really bad, and that tells you that there is hope. And then I have Anne. You know Anne already, and she's here with me today. We are co-hosting with her, so stay tuned for a treat and also for learning. So I want to invite my guests. So Anne,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Wow, it's been so long.
It's been long, but
Yeah.
we thank God we are back again.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Who is Anne? You know, there is a person who is watching you for the first time.
Anne is a counseling psychologist, accredited counselor supervisor with KCPA. I have quite a bit of experience in counseling psychology. I've also just had my doctorate degree in the same, and I'm happy to be here. We will talk more about what we are talking, and we'll see to the end.
Oh,
Thank you.
welcome. Welcome. And then we have our guest, Jack,
Yes,
Pastor Jack.
yes, Pastor.
How are you?
Very fine. Yes,
You're feeling okay this morning?
I'm feeling blessed. Yes,
So you have gone through what do I call a journey?
yes,
A journey of being totally depressed,
yes.
knowing yourself, recovering. But now before we get to all that,
Yes.
who is Jack?
Now, thank you very much. Now, Jack, or Pastor Jack, is a pastor, also an author. Though I've not really released the book, it's in a publishing progress.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, and of course, I have a small knowledge about psychology.
Yeah.
But mostly my main job, I would call it a job, is being a pastor. I'm a pastor. Right now, I'm an assistant pastor at Remnants of Flames Network International in Kiambu, Kilikiti town. And I'm serving under Apostle John Derito. And in that, we are not only preaching the spiritual things, we are also preaching. We are teaching people knowledge.
Yeah.
For example, psychology, because now even the Apostle John Derito is a psychologist.
Yeah.
And so I have through depression, it has caused me to change my mind, because I thought everything could be solved spiritually.
Yeah.
You just prayed and that was it. That your marriage could be solved through prayer. But now I think God was trying to show me that not only there are more aspects of life than just prayer and going to church.
Yeah.
And so we are reaching out to pastors like me who are going through what I went through.
Yeah.
Reaching out to people who could be very productive, but they have been crippled by depression.
Yeah.
Because what I think the depression attacks productivity.
Yeah.
And so I would say that I'm a pastor, but still an aspiring psychologist. If God gives me a chance, I would really want to really understand psychology.
Welcome to this side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm sure you didn't start
Yes.
as a pastor.
Yes.
You didn't start where you are.
Yeah.
So maybe you can take us through. Who is Jack?
Okay.
Where were you born? Who has born this pastor that we can see today? The product we can see. Jack, where were you born?
Okay. Thank you very much. So I was born in a village called Kiamba Village in Kiambu County, in Kiamba constituency. And so my parents are James Burundora and Magdalene Waithera Bogwa. And I come from a family of 9 kids. We are very many. And I'm the mid-born. And so wale watoto mpaka you have to really shine, I'm here, you have to prove I'm here. Because when you are mid-born, it is very easily to be, because now you are midway. Before they can reach to you, kuna last born, kuna nani. So they all take your attention. They take the attention that should be yours.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a village, and we were very poor. And growing up poor, I think I never knew what poverty is until one day our church told us that we're going to meet the poorest people in the village.
Yeah.
And I found us going to my home.
Wow.
Like we are told, come
you are
tomorrow.
following other people,
Yes.
and then you found yourself.
Yes,
going
tomorrow
back.
come with unga. We're going to see the poorest families in.
Wow.
And I don't know why we are called poor, because my mother afforded unga,
Yeah.
and I was given, go take this. I think I took the same unga. I took it back to my home.
Yeah.
Took the same unga my mother had given me back to my home.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that we were very poor.
Yeah.
And now that, plus now during my primary school days, I was bullied a lot, because now after the kids understood also, because I was not the only person who got the understanding that we were poor. Every kid in the village now got the understanding, this is poverty. Now I became the picture of poverty.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted to explain what poverty is, they would use Jack as an example.
Wow.
So I remember kids in school, they would stand in front of class and say, I went to Jack's house, his house, nyumba yao inakaa hivi, nakula na mchwa. Inataka kuanguka. Of course, you could see, nyumba yetu ilikuwa see-through. Our house was a see-through. When you're out, you could see.
So someone can call you from the road.
Yes.
Because they can see in the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say we were poor.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah.
And I was bullied. And that bullying, I think, even though it was negative, it kind of gave me this desire to get out of this so-called poverty.
Yeah.
I didn't know how. So God, in His own way, connected me with people who led me to God, to believe in God. And that way, I was able to learn, to go through high school, of course with a lot of struggles, because I remember I studied only the first year.
That is
and Form 1, first term. And when I was sent home, I would come just 2 days and the deputy would see me and they would send me back home. And I remember even the deputy one day said, I'm eating other kids' food.
Because
So
you've not yet paid.
Yeah, because you have not paid. So I felt really bad. So I stopped going to school. I went, there was a man who said he would train me to fix TVs. In fact, our first TV, I'm the one, it was a gift for fixing TVs. So I'm the person who brought a black and white TV back home, the first TV.
Wow.
So I left school for a while, went to train for fixing, electronics and all that. But by God's grace, I was able to come back to school again and do the exam. And I remember I got English, B- in English.
Wow.
And I think up to this
That's
point,
why your English is good.
yes,
Yeah.
up to this point,
Yeah.
the language that has really helped me, the thing that has helped me so much was English. Yeah, so I thank God that I was able to go to school because from that came out, the ability to articulate points, the ability to understand what other people are doing. And so after that, I was sponsored to go to study German language because at that
That's
time,
after Form 4.
after Form 4,
Yeah.
at that time there were people were going to Germany. So I thought I would go to Germany. So I got a sponsor who sponsored me to do German language. And after that, I didn't go to Germany.
You
But-
studied Germany in Kenya.
Yes, in Kenya.
Okay.
So, but by God's grace, I went to apply the first for the exam for the lower certificate, but the Goethe Institute, like the institute, the exam body, German exam body in Kenya, they told me we don't have this, but we have like the diploma. I was going to do the exam for the certificate. They told me no, we have a diploma. So would you be willing to register the diploma and try? So I said I would. And by God's grace, I passed. I got a diploma in German language.
Okay.
And the college was so happy because they've never had any student
Wow.
achieve that. There were only teaching certificates. So I was given a job to become a teacher in the same college.
To teach German.
Yes.
So now you are fluent in German even as we talk.
I can speak German a little bit because it was in 2012. It was a long time ago.
yeah.
So you confuse. The language that I can speak now is Chinese.
Like
Later.
fluently.
Yes,
So
because
if someone has a job and they want a Chinese translator, you can do that.
I can do that. Let me say I can do that. I can do
You
that.
can do
Of
it.
course, I've been in Kenya now for 5 years, but I know it needs
You might
practice.
have forgotten some bits.
Yeah, but I think I can't be that bad.
If you can recap.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So that was your college. So in college you studied German.
German. So and then as I was teaching German in the college, I met the Chinese teacher. Gave me an idea that you could go to China. So I went to China. So when I went to China, God blessed me. Going to China was not easy because I did a harambe. It failed. People didn't come. So the money I got, I had to pay back mchele, jahe, nini.
The food that people ate.
Yeah, the food
So
that
it means people ate and they didn't come with money.
Yes.
How sad.
No, the young people came and they didn't have money. The young people don't have money.
And they eat a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are energetic and we eat a lot.
Yes.
And-
So
yeah.
So but I continued to pray. But I remember one day someone approached me and asked me, "Are you not going to China?" I said, "Oh, no, I didn't get the money." So he organized with some few friends and they raised 200,000 in 2 weeks.
Wow. Who is
So I was-
that? Would
I
you like
was
to
able-
acknowledge them?
Yes. I really appreciate Kabogo's sister. Esther Gitau,
That is the former
the former governor.
sister.
Yeah, the former governor, Esther Gitau.
Wow.
And
Thank you, Esther.
Yes, and also Anglican Church of Kenya, Kiamba Parish, the Archdeacon and the elders, Venerable Juliet, whatever she is, I'm very grateful.
Wow.
Also, the elders at that point, and people in the English service, they really supported me. I always tell God that when He blesses me, I will go back. I may not find the same people, but I know I will go and at least say thank you, a good thank you. Yes.
You know, the reason I've told you to appreciate them is that it's easy to remember people who do us wrong, and not remember people who do us right. So we think life sucks, yet God has brought people in your life who are helping you. So you go to China.
So I went to China. And because I didn't have money to pay the agent, you have to have money to pay the agent to take you in their house. And at that time, the agents were misusing people. So, you could pay money here, and then when you go there, nobody is waiting for you at the airport. And you would find that you are stranded. But by God's grace, I was able to become a houseboy in a house. And after 1 month, I got a job. I was given a full house with everything and a good salary. So that's where I met a pastor from Ghana, and in 2016 I was ordained as a pastor
in China.
In China, yes, because now the church in China, it's illegal to preach about the gospel. So we have what we call an underground church. So I met Pastor Anthony Aidu from Ghana, and we served together. And in December 31st, 2016, he ordained me as a pastor. And we continue preaching and preaching and preaching. But in 2018, I remember I came back to Kenya to visit, and I realized that the lady I was supposed to marry got pregnant with another man. So I got furious. I got furious a lot, and I said I would never come back to Kenya again.
Let me bring you back a bit.
Yes.
You had started dating this lady before you left Kenya.
No. 2017. We had met in 2017. I was coming and going. Yeah. So now it's very hard to marry Chinese. The traditions and the cultures. Really, I tried. Even tried to marry foreign whites and all that. It is very hard. Because you find that maybe the whites they support homosexuality and all that. No. The beliefs,
the culture.
Yeah, you find that now they support certain LGBTQ couple, and she expects you to support them, and I can't do that. So because of culture, I said no. Let me go back home, find a girl for myself. Came back here, found that very nice girl preaching.
In church.
Yes, on fire for God. And I was like, that's her.
Yeah.
So so in 2018, I came back, and I don't want to blame her because we are all not perfect.
Yeah.
So, but I'm lucky, or maybe she was not the one I was supposed to marry. She got pregnant with another man when I was in China, and so I was very angry.
Yeah.
And I went back to China, and I vowed and I told God, never take me back to Kenya.
You were
and
so
I will
hurt.
never come back to Kenya. I was so hurt. Now I don't know what God wanted to do, because after 3 months I found myself arrested while training people, when training pastors. There were spies everywhere. So police came for me, like CID, police. All the police came in for me, and I was scuffed and taken to investigation room, and I was investigated. I was asked so many questions and intimidated by police. And then after that, me and the pastor, we were taken by the CID in a tinted car, and we were taken to an unknown location.
This is Holistic Therapy. Your host, Rose Wangari. And as I usually tell you, I have a master's degree in counseling psychology. Currently, I'm doing my PhD. And my offices are in Thika town. You see that Coca-Cola bottle, not inside the Coca-Cola bottle, but there's a Rafiki house just there if you come to first floor. So if you need services, you can always see us. One thing I love about us is that we are professionals. If you go to a quack and you have mental issues, because mental issues are very serious, you're going to go back home more destroyed than you left. So keep tuned and also follow the numbers on the screen. You can get me there. And also on Facebook, I'm Sulei Rosie Rongo. And we are back from a short break. So before he left, Jack, you were telling us about your girlfriend left you, and then you were arrested.
Yes.
You said earlier that in China, it is illegal to preach.
To preach.
So that is the reason you got arrested.
Yes.
What happens after that? Or how bad is you are taken to an unknown location?
Unknown location. So in this place, you don't know what is going to happen to you. Can be beheading, can be strangling.
It's a foreign land.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
Because now the person in charge of China is the god. So he does not want any competition with anyone altogether. So or the supreme leader altogether. More the same like North Korea, you know. But at least China is open to people can go there, but you are not allowed to preach the gospel. So that was a capital crime. Yeah, so we were taken to an unknown location, and we were detained for 30 days. But God, before my phone was taken, I had written to a group because I had a group of more than 300 people, Christians, who I was attending to and who I was preaching to, because I had started an online ministry, because China is vast, it's big. So I could not meet people. So we had an online group where I can preach to people, I can pray to people, and also people can get to me. And so I was able to write, hey, pray for me, we've been arrested. That is the last message that I posted in that group. And so they were able to pray, and also they sent back requests back to their churches back in Kenya. And also I think the government was able to be reached. And so I think they reached a deal for us to be released. So after 30 days, we were released. So now being released, I thought I was being given freedom to go back, to my old life.
To work.
And all that. But I realized we were taken to the airport. And the painful thing was I was leaving what I had built for 6 years. And there was nothing I could do about it. So
you had a life in China.
I had a life in China. I was like a godfather in China.
Wow.
Nearly many Kenyans, and I know if they would see this, they would tell you that I was a very popular pastor in China for the foreigners, for the Kenyans, especially for the Kenyans. I have a ministry. I have left a ministry. There were some businesses we were doing there. I left it. We had opened an English school. I left it. I was also an agent. I used to connect people to employees to employers. So, and of course, things that were frozen, the things that I could not access, my
your
bank accounts,
everything.
they were frozen. I could not access them because now, how can I access them?
You're talking to so many people who are heartbroken right now.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All together.
Yeah.
And so I'm taken back with only a khaki and a t-shirt.
Like literally.
Yes, literally. A khaki and a t-shirt. But God favored us. We were supposed to be cuffed and the whole flight. But the police, at the Fikisha airport, they were like, we don't think you people are guilty. So we just
police in China.
The Chinese police. They told us, you know what, you can come back after 5 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You of course you're banned. But of course a policeman telling you that it's God.
Yeah, it
Even
is.
giving you advice, it's God. And they were like, no, we're supposed to take you to hand you to the airport police, who will hand you to the airport. Every plane has 2 policemen, 2 plainclothes policemen who handle these cases. So we are supposed to be taken as fugitives.
Yeah.
And when we get to Kenya, be handed over to the Kenyan government.
Yeah.
That was the shame I was afraid of. But by God's grace, the policemen were like, no, just take your passport, just walk in as normal people. Yeah.
What are you thinking in that plane?
And on that plane now, the problem was the fear. I was so afraid of the life I had left because there was this recurring dream for 6 years where I saw myself barefooted, back home barefooted. I tried to pray, and it was so scary because now that was the reality. Because now back home now, I knew that the people I had left were not faithful. So that's why I tried to shift.
Wait, you're saying you had seen this vision before?
I had seen this vision like a dream, recurring dream, where I saw myself coming back home barefooted with nothing.
The dream came to pass.
So when I come back home, I have moved all my things, like my investments and everything, to China. And so Kenya, I had nothing, maybe few thousands. So the money that I had, I was like, when I got back home, I said, I'm not going back. People will not know what has happened.
Yeah.
Denials tracking.
So I had a plan, run away to America. I had like 300,000, some cash here and there. But I was like, I'm going to run away to America. So I got an agent
to save face.
To save my
your
face. No, personally, coming from a poor background, beating poverty, building a house for your mother, changing everything, then coming back.
Thinking you're coming back to the same kind of life.
Yes. I changed the whole family, my whole family's outlook, the way they were. I built a house for them. I did a lot. And so it was like, I'm not going to go back home and live there. Yeah. No, I'm not. So I said, I'm going to run to America. So I the money, 300,000, I use it to facilitate my travel to America. Going to the embassy, I'm denied visa.
What happened?
Now, I said, I'm going to try again.
What do they give you? Like, they won't give you
because, of course, you see, it's like Kenya was calling me.
The issues.
It's like it's like my destiny. Something was supposed to happen in Kenya. Like, I was trying to run away from it. I was like Jonah, trying to run away from it. So they didn't even give any information because even the person who was interviewing me told me, come back after 6 months. We can give you then. Yeah. She told me that. She told me, we are not supposed to. We cannot give you. Even if you come again, we cannot give you unless it's after 6 months. So go and come back after 6 months.
So America dream is gone.
It's gone, crashed. And now I have no money. So I said, I have a house and I pay like 10,000 a month in Waka. Luckily, it was furnished. So I said, I'm going to live here. But you see, I don't have money. I don't have any source of money.
And you don't have any job.
So what did I do? I started borrowing from Branch, Tara. I knew I had like 8 apps.
To maintain the lie.
To maintain the lie.
Wow.
That I'm still that guy.
Yeah. Who came from China.
Yes. Even up to this point, there are people who I meet and they ask me, Haya, huku? Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Because really, I really managed to really keep it. And so, but there's another interview I did in Kikuyu, so I think people now know. So now that's why I'm not afraid to do the interviews because I'm now ready. After the counseling, now I became very confident, ready to let people now know.
So your way of dealing with shame at that point was to borrow money.
Yes. Yeah. Borrow money. And that's what many people are doing. Yeah. Even a car. Yeah. Many people with cars, they're doing it not because they want to kind of look like their peers.
Yeah. Maintain status quo. Yet
people
you're
are
not
living to prove a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, maintain status quo, yet you're not able to fund it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
How did it affect you? Because now I think,
It did. Because now I started borrowing from friends. Now friends became very irritated with that. And friends are not God.
I know.
God is the one who cannot get tired. So they started blocking me. They started walking away from me.
Yeah.
So I found myself alone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's when now depression.
Were you working or
kicking.
okay, what were you doing exactly? Or were you just staying in the house, borrowing
I was
money
staying in
from
the house.
parents to eat?
I was staying in the house.
Mhm.
And note maybe one thing, or from your story, you've told us that you were armed with your language person.
Yes.
You were armed with English, German, and Chinese.
Yeah.
No other skill.
Mhm.
As in, maybe you could not even do even manual jobs
I
because
could
you
not.
had not done it. And remember the status?
Mm.
So you didn't want to be seen like you were
But
hopeless.
I wanted to maintain that I'm still the guy who travels back to and fro
to and
Kenya.
from China.
So why would I go from Jengo?
from
I wouldn't do
Jengo.
Do you know that's something?
Yes.
Very few people accept where they are.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Accepting
like a
the reality.
disease.
It is
Yeah.
very painful. You know, this is where we talk of the ego defense mechanisms,
Mm.
whereby the reality is too painful to accept.
Yeah.
The reality is too painful to work with.
Mm.
So the ego decides to do what?
Mhm.
To hide that
Mm.
with the defense mechanisms.
Mhm.
Yes.
So like that one of now denial was probably in acute denial.
Mm.
Yeah, that now the world has come crumbling down. No, it hasn't. It hasn't. I'm still around. But you know, the reality is speaking
It's
different
hinting.
thing
Yeah.
from the belief.
Yeah.
You know, from the inner opinion.
Mm.
It's different from what is happening in the
It's
in the
true.
outside.
And even as we continue, I think even our social system, it's very weak. Because I think if you come from a family where you know that if you fail outside, you are welcome home.
Mm.
You can fail in China and then you know, let me go back home. I know I have a system that can support me.
Yeah.
But I think we also have these expectations even in families whereby if you are broke, you're not allowed. You know, you come from different kind of families.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a person who knows if I fail in life, I don't have a home.
Mm.
So I think even for the viewers, those people who are watching us and maybe you are a parent or you are a brother or your sister,
Yeah.
there's a way you can look at someone. They don't have to tell you they have issues or they have problems. You just use your common sense and help people
Yeah.
out so that people don't have to fake life. You know, I can imagine
Yeah.
you are waking up and you know sometimes depression is so bad with idleness.
Mm.
You're waking up and eating
Yeah.
and sleeping
And sleeping and watching movies.
and watching movies.
At that point now, I got addicted to movies because
Yeah.
personally,
Mhm.
being a preacher,
Mm.
I really, according to how I am, and I think that's why God called me as a preacher,
Mm.
I'm a person who likes to get into the story.
Yeah.
So even the Bible, even when I'm preaching, my preaching is not directly. It's like going around, you know, trying to take you around the history, taking around the things to try and show you a point, specific point.
Yeah.
So I found a way to escape reality. Movies,
Mm.
series.
Mm.
Because when I was watching movies and series, it was like I was a part of that life. That life of flying, that life of... So it was
fantasy.
movie after movie after
Yeah.
movie, and then break, eat, drink, come back home, sleeping at 3 o'clock, waking up 12 o'clock. Hopeless life. Eating
Oh my God.
chapati and chai alone because I could not cook. And I got so thin, and I got ulcers now. The other problem is ulcers. They could even pain from my back.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Like they have eaten you so up that now they are now paining you here. I don't know how many people have gotten answers and gone. I got them.
Thank you so much.
Zimekueat mpaka zimeconnect
A
mpaka
lot of acidity.
so I was even going like this. I somehow bent because if I did it was like I was stretching. If you stretch a wound, the way it pains you. So
Do you have close friends at this time?
I will tell you now. Now, these friends have been invited to preach.
Mm.
And every fellowship I go to preach, you know, because I had set up some fellowships back home.
Yeah.
Now I'm preaching with anger. Because now, not only did I lose my money, I also lost the girl I was going to marry. And
Yeah.
probably everyone in the village thinks I'm the father of this child.
Ah, okay. Oh, so the guy who impregnated her didn't marry her.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So of course you're used to see a guy with a girl. Then a girl gets pregnant. Who do you think is the father?
And unfortunately, maybe the baby looks like you.
Yes, trust me. But by God's grace,
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of a pastor.
Yeah.
But I thank God because we have a good friendship with the lady. That's why I honor her also, because she was also young at that point.
And maybe she had her own issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I learned to understand people. So this is not in any way to fight her. It is to share her as a part of my story. I cannot cut her off. She's
Because
a part
actually,
of my
it's a
story.
part of your story.
Yes.
Let me ask before even we move on.
Yes.
You have a relationship with God.
Yes.
And this God makes you to be kicked. Because if you're not preaching,
Yeah.
you would still be in China. You know, I had another day, another pastor saying that alikuwa amebackslide mpaka akiambiwa na mtu Bwana asifiwe, anamwita all kinds of domestic animals, food, nini, everything.
Yeah.
Because you feel like God has failed you. What is your relationship with God at this time?
My
Are you
relationship
feeling
with God-
hurt? Like,
My relationship with God is one that is very confused.
yeah.
Because I had loved God so much that I understood that there was nowhere else that I could find help. But still I was so bitter with him.
Yeah.
So you
I
have,
can imagine.
it's like you have a child. You know, you cannot throw away the child, but you're bitter with that child.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you cannot disown this child. And you cannot, or maybe you have a mother who you are not in a good relationship, and she has done to you all kinds of things. No matter what you do, you know she's your mother. You cannot deny her as your mother. So I had gotten that to that point. And then you understand that I was having a 300,000 salary.
Yeah.
I was a manager
That was monthly.
monthly. 300,000, a manager of a Canadian company with no qualifications. I had reached at the top of my life. Then all of a sudden, it's stripped. So of course you feel bitter.
And confused and frustrated.
Yes. So at that point, I would pray, but the prayers were bitterness. Why did you bring me to this life? Why did you call me? Take your calling back. Just let me be a normal person. I had this idea that I would run to Thika. And I want to be honest, when I came to Thika to meet Anne, I sat in a park here, I don't know. And I was like, maybe the first day, sat in a park and I said,
So you're not actually looking for Anne?
no,
You just came coincidentally?
No. When I came to her, because now I'll give you now the connection. I want to tell you now the ideas that were running in my head. When I came, I was like, this is a very nice place to hide.
Thika.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at first, Thika was not the place for healing for me. It was, this is a very nice place.
To hide.
Maybe I'll just ignore the Anne's idea, class, or counseling, and just disappear. Just rent a house here and hide. I sat in a park. I don't know what the name is. The park where you kuna watu wengi.
Yeah.
Christina Garden.
Maybe. I sat there for 2 hours, just thinking. Because I always have had this idea. I will run away from God. I've tried to run away from God. I also have tried to commit suicide. I also got to a point where I felt I wanted to commit suicide. But somehow,
by God's
divine grace,
preservation.
there's that love level I had gotten to about, because I had read the Bible so many times, and I had really, when I was called as a pastor, I really wanted to know God. So there was this very strong consciousness in me, that like this voice in me that was telling me, now if you commit suicide, you're going to hell. So I was like, if I die, if I commit suicide, I will be in torment forever. So I would rather stay. So it's that fear of hell that stopped me. Not the fear of God, but it was the fear of hell.
The fear of
burning.
It was not, and many Christians are there because of the fear of hell, not because they love God.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I really love God. It's only the knowledge of there is a God and there is hell.
And you don't know that.
Yes. So even when I'm praying, I was just praying.
Yeah.
But now when I went to these friends and fellowship and all that, I was projecting. You know, all of you,
go to hell.
No, I would.
So if you're called to preach,
Yes, I would. If I was called to preach, you will never call me again. I will scare you, all of you.
Set everything
You are
on
the
fire.
prophet of doom.
Yes, I was a prophet of doom.
Yeah.
And then now, I got to a point I was like, I'm right, all of you are wrong.
Mm.
Right together.
Father
And
Abraham.
Yes, I got this idea that I was the only person who knew
Yeah.
the truth.
The prophet of the day.
And then because of being locked, yes, the prophet of the day, Apostle Peter, you know, I had been locked in jail, so I took that. I was like, I'm going to brag.
I'm like
Paul. I couldn't to come. There's no one in this age who's been locked like
for
me.
God's
So I have the
sake.
right to scold you like Paul.
What?
I scolded
By the way.
So ministers started to disconnect with me, from me.
Yeah.
Fellowships dethroned me.
Mm.
The fellowships I had planted
Yeah.
now dethroned them.
Because you're becoming toxic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now from that, I met someone also who was toxic, who was going through some depression. A lady.
It's a relaxed company.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we are looking for company. So we joined together. She was
Yeah.
toxic. I was toxic.
Yeah.
Hey, it was really, really bad.
Mm.
And so I think I learned, I forgot. I thought that it was the world which was wrong.
Yeah.
It was everyone else which was wrong, and I
Apart
was
from
right.
you. Yeah.
Even that relationship didn't work
Mm.
because I could not say sorry. I could not even communicate.
Mm.
Mimi nilikuwa namnyamazia 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Without no reason at all.
No, unanyamaza 3 days.
Mm.
Can you imagine we're in the same house, are we together?
Mm.
Pamoja?
Mm.
Now,
And
for
you know-
example, you are married. I'm talking about like you are married,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because this was just a relationship. Right?
Yeah.
You are married, right together.
Mm.
And your husband is keeping quiet
Wow.
for 3 days.
Mm.
What would you think?
Hello, once again, viewers. We are happy we are still around here. As I had told you, my name is Teacher. I'm a counseling psychologist, and by the way, I'm also a teacher by profession. So I also do, apart from one-on-one counseling, I also do TOT, training of trainers. I do that. I do other trainings like in workplace counseling. We call it employee assistant programs, EAPs, which we talk about stress and burnout management at workplace. So because you know that even at workplace is that a lot. So at times you may not necessarily come for a session as in one-on-one or a group session, but we can have trainings to impart you with skills to know how do I go about this. As I had mentioned with the counseling or with the issues that affect us, do you know we are capable of even having healing from ourselves? But the problem is we don't know how to tap our inner resources. So actually, when we talk of counseling, when we talk of training, we are basically imparting you with the skills of how to tap what is within you, and then you are able to move on. Yes.
Can you imagine we're in the same house, are we together? Pamoja? Now, for example, you are married. I'm talking about like you are married,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because this was just a relationship. Right?
Yeah.
You are married, right together. And your husband is keeping quiet
Wow.
for 3 days. What would you think? That would not work. I don't think it would work. Because now, you see now,
Actually, it sets the other person on anxiety.
yes,
It makes you think, what's wrong with this person?
yes.
Yeah.
Also now, you see now, you know, depression kind of cripples communication, cripples productivity,
Does.
cripples a lot.
Yeah.
It makes you dysfunction.
It puts you in your own world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So nothing worked. Nothing worked. Until I remember there's a girl I had adopted. And she's in high school. And now she was sent home because she needed counseling.
Yeah.
There were some things that happened. They had gone to a trip, and so some LGBTQ girls had told them to kiss one another in the bus.
Yeah.
You know, these things are happening in school.
A lot.
So they were sent.
Home for
They were
counseling.
sent home for counseling. So looking for, I had been contracted by, I don't know what there's an organization that was giving training to villagers, counseling basics. So I had been contracted to just teach stand in for another psychologist.
Yeah.
So I had a connection with this organization. I don't remember the name. So I asked them, please, do you have anyone you can recommend for counseling? Not for me, for the girl.
Yeah.
For you that time, you don't have any problem. You don't need.
You don't need any other person's knowledge.
So
You are Mr. Know-all.
I know it all.
Yeah.
So it was my daughter who needs counseling, not me. So that's when they gave me aunt's number. Now later, when I realized now this was very, it was going off and my life was being destroyed. Nothing was working. Everything was dying.
Yeah.
Everything was dying. My friendships died because nobody could understand me.
Yeah.
And then my heart was beating very fast.
Yeah.
I was always anxious, always insecure in every way.
Yeah.
Are we together? And then even the ministry had started. I could post on Facebook and nobody likes.
And you want validation.
And I want validation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's become a vicious cycle. No validation, so you get stressed. And now when you get stressed again, now of course no validation because you're not even productive.
So at what point do you think, I think now, this is where the rubber meets the road? Yeah.
I think it's when now that relationship was like it died. And I got this, I got hit by reality that, if you continue like this, you've been doing this for 5 years and you are worse now than you were 5 years ago when you came back to Kenya. So if you continue like this, I think you're going to be a very miserable person.
Yeah.
And I started seeing the reality of who I would become, and probably of even what would happen to me, because I think it was becoming so heavy. The burden was becoming so heavy, and I saw, I think, a glimpse of what I was going to become. And the fear got into me. And then I asked God, please, what can I do to get out of this? And the answer was just, reminding me, you had a number of a psychologist. Why don't you call?
So you are calling Pst Jack.
Yes.
Let me see whether this thing works.
Yes.
So when Jack enters your office,
Yes.
I can imagine a depressed person. With all the suffering he has been through that he has told us. What did you see? What kind of a person entered into your office?
He didn't come to the office. Of course, he called me because he had never been, he mentioned he had ever been Thika before, but that time, of course, he didn't know where I am. So this time round, when he has come now to see me, he called me, told me he's in Rwaka and he's coming to Thika, so I directed him. And once he came, so he asked me, of course, the house. He didn't know where we are located, but then we are located at Joko House, Old Joko House, room 2. First floor. So, but I just directed him somewhere where now I can pick him. So I went and I called him and told him I'm here, and he told me, he just described how he was dressed, so I saw him. And the first impression was like, what? Okay. But of course now, in ourselves, we don't show the client that you're shocked. You show the client she's still normal, but to be frank, now I want to be frank. So when I saw him, there's this guy who had a lot of hair and beard, and of course he looked skinnier. He's now grown. In fact, Mama Bia, he's added weight and skinny. So I was like, what? Okay. In the office, do I have somebody outside there, or I'm the only one? But then we walked to the office and went, and so I welcomed him. But incidentally, he had an aura of peace. I don't know, peace or no harm. Okay.
You felt it.
Yes. That there's that aura of this person is harmless. Though he's looking haggard. He's actually
he just escaped from jail.
Yeah.
Prison break.
He's harmless. So we got in, and so we started the session. Yes.
So when you were going for therapy, which issues exactly were you what do you think was wrong with you? You know, there's a difference between what you think is wrong with you and what actually is wrong with you. What do you think was wrong with you?
Okay, I think personally I was not even coming because something was wrong with me. I was coming because
To confirm you are right.
the girl I was that I was in a relationship with was wrong.
Yeah.
I think that was like the okay, Jack, give me your story.
Yes.
There's this
Oh
lady.
my God.
There's this lady.
So you wanted that to take your side?
And I was surprised because she was not
Yeah,
doing
my
that.
ribs.
She was not doing that. She was always remained very
So
neutral.
depression at that point was not a problem to you?
No. I think it's later when I told her. I think I'm starting to see that I'm the problem. We're together.
At
But
what point?
yeah, when the first session was about that girl,
Yeah.
I could not go even 2 minutes without mentioning her name.
Yeah.
That one.
That's what.
She's the one who did this, did this.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm.
She's the one who put me in this situation,
Yeah.
not me.
Mm.
So I think Anne gave me some, he told me to go and do journaling. I write what, what is in my heart.
Yeah.
So as I was writing and I started to realize that something is also wrong with me because the things I wrote were I came to realize that I also had played a very big role. Being harsh, not understanding, not communicating, not being, not being open to ideas from her. So I started to see now this was my problem. And also we had met where she had come also needing help. So I also came to realize that I was sick and she was also sick.
Yeah. And you wanted to make a whole relationship.
Yes, it was. So I realized that I expected too much
from her, from a sick person.
Yes, the same way anyone expecting too much from me would be disappointed. So that's when I started to see, no, this is not her.
It's not a problem. So were you like saying, if I have a problem with someone, they are not the only problem. I also have a part of that. I'm a part of that problem and also a part of that solution.
Exactly. So it can be like that.
Yeah.
Well, in some situations, there are some cases where you find maybe it is the other person who is sick. The other person who is having problem. Yeah. Not that you don't have, but probably you like now Jack has solved his situation. So he encounters probably another person or even if it's a relative or even a workmate who has not solved their issues. But the difference is, for now, he will know, he will acknowledge, oh wow, this person has told me this, I guess he is the one having issues with themselves. So it's not always that when you're complaining about someone that you also have a problem, especially if you have solved yours. Yeah. But if you haven't, then it could be the both of you are having the problem, or you need help the most. So either way or both. That can actually be. So because now you know what depression does, like the situation he passed through, what depression does, it kind of even kills your logical thinking. The other day we were talking about the brain.
Yes.
And we said when we are like depressed, when we are stressed, when we are in extreme anxiety, we are operating on survival mode. And the survival mode, that is now the survival brain, at that particular point, it deactivates the cognitive brain.
So you can't be reasonable.
So you're not reasoning.
Yeah.
You're not thinking. And then now the survival mode is very, very irrational. So you see, it takes you back like the level of a child. Of course, a child is, of course, on developmental milestones, but it's a question of me. Those small children, selfish. Okay, the selfishness of children, because they are growing up. And by the way, it still has a relationship because the children's brain has not yet developed. So you can imagine now part of the harm that depression does to you is to retrogress you. You like go to the immaturity. So and therefore you never see your problem, you never see your challenge, you never see your weakness. So the weakness is about the other person,
So in other words, you are emotionally dysregulated.
Exactly. That's it. The emotional brain for regulation is also deactivated. Of course, now you're on autopilot, the one you call your autopilot. So your emotional regulation is down, your thinking capacity is down. So now you need like to be jacked. You see a vehicle, the way it is jacked for it to like the engine to come to. So it's the same thing. The person is normally. So that's why, you know, when you the logical brain is deactivated, you cannot even reason. And that's why you find like when Jack is talking about he was angry, he was even his sermons were anger sermons. It's because the emotional regulation part of the brain is I don't want to say dead.
They're not well regulated.
It is not well regulated. So even the EI, the emotional intelligence is not there. So and then you're also easily agitated. You easily angered. So even a small thing like this will anger you. And I remember we did one of the techniques we used, you know, MSC, mindful self-compassion, whereby now he came like to himself, where you stop. First of all, let's not talk about the others, deal with the others. Let's come back. And I took him through that session of mindful self-compassion. You know, it calms. It calms the mind, and when you're calm, you're now slowly able to see. You're slowly able to see. You're slowly, okay.
You can connect the dots.
I can connect. All right. Because he could not connect that he's coming from China empty-handed. And of course, it is like falling, what they say. I would say they are falling from grace to grass. He couldn't connect it with the depression. So yes, so meaning that now, first of all, he's relating himself in a negative way. So what he can only relate with others is that negative. So coming back to himself and realizing, okay, this is the way I am. This is what has happened to me. Now, when you are calm, now you begin to be rational. So it is like the treatment, if I may. In fact, what I've discovered by the as we talk about this depression, it's like now the treatment of depression is like getting someone from the irrational thinking to rational.
There's a lot of CBT needed.
A lot of CBT needed. From irrational thinking to rational thinking. So that now you can begin to see things as they are, but not as you want them.
As you want to see them.
Yes, as you want to see them.
Now, hey, now you have this girl you want to blame all your problems on.
Yes.
And I'm believing that from China. Sasa unatoa za China, unamwekelea. Unatoka na zile maanga.
From the first girl.
So you are like, all girls are the same. You know, you
I'm
remember
insecure because I'm afraid what the other girl did, she will also do the same. So I think it was full force. It was everything, frustration, friends walking away from me, ministries walking away from me. So everything was, I blamed her. And I think I did what most people do. The problem, they magnify the problem. The problem is just a glass. I would use that problem to bring out every to bring out every pain in my heart.
Well, you are protective. Because I can imagine you don't want to lose this person.
Yes,
and yet what you are doing, you are losing her with everything you're doing. You know, that's what depression does. Like you don't want to lose something. Yet the force you are exerting on that thing, you're losing it.
I was overprotective. I started telling her you should not be seen with these people. At some point she got tired.
Oh, you can? Yeah.
And now when she left, that's when, because of desperation.
Oh, she left.
Yes.
She left you.
Yes.
So when you were
She
coming for
left
therapy, she had already
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a broken relationship.
Okay.
And now it was paining me. I was coming to see how I can win her back.
Oh, okay.
It was not even about
How she can change. So that
how she can change.
so you can win her back.
Yeah. In fact, I would have dragged her here. In fact, I tried to tell her,
Let's go for therapy.
let's go for therapy.
Yeah.
I'm going for therapy.
We should
You-
go,
you should go.
Robert.
You-
Yeah. How?
I
So
think-
relationship was one thing
yes.
that was taking you to therapy. What else do you think was the problem?
Also, of course, I think the downward spiral
Yeah.
of my life, but though maybe I didn't want to. The main one was the relationship. The
Why you
failed
be
relationship.
hiding behind? You know, sometimes you don't know what you can do without pain. Do you know sometimes you can get so much used to pain that you don't know what your life can be without pain. So you're always looking for pain. You're always looking for pain, even where pain is not existing. So at this point, you're losing her, and maybe you have other things like kuna venye unaenda down and all that. What are you blaming? Were you like you are born again? And you know when they're born again Christians, they're always looking for somewhere to post their problem.
Yeah.
There's a witch, kuna mtu anitaki mazuri, there's a what, but the last person to come back is to yourself. What are you blaming?
Curses.
Yeah.
I was saying I'm cursed. I was saying that there are some people who have spoken evil words against me, who are jealous. Remember, they're jealous because of the perfection and the excellence. Walking in. The giftings. The people who want my life so bad, they have spoken bad words.
Oh yeah.
And so I saw myself as an object of jealousy, you know. So I blamed men of God, women of God.
Yeah.
I blamed also witches and wizards.
Yeah.
Started saying that kwetu tunakuanga hivi, tunakuanga hivi. I'm the first pastor in my family, that's why I'm being fought.
And
So it was
followed.
not about me, it was about the devil fighting me and the demons and all those people.
Yeah.
Also where I was, you know, people are afraid, they are jealous, they are, you know, there are witches in my town which cannot operate when I'm there.
Yeah.
They have realized.
They have realized there's a powerful man of God in our village. You have to kill this man.
They have to attack you.
Yes, they have to attack me because, and I'm the guy making sure they don't work. Their witchcraft is
By
not
then you have
working.
not even shaved your hair.
No. Weird. It was it was weird.
Yeah.
It was very weird and also very. It looked like I there's a man I met and told me, you looked crazy. We didn't want to tell you, but we knew you were crazy.
Yeah. Oh, after now you shaved.
Yes.
Yeah.
They met me just the other day, maybe 2 weeks ago. They told me, no, there's something I want to tell you. You look so good that I want to tell you something else. There's a time I met you and I knew you were crazy.
You wanted to be Prophet Elijah.
Yes.
The beard and
You see the business of the beard and the hair. See the depression, like he has said, his cycle was wake up, eat chapati and chai at 12, sit the whole day, sleep. You know, depression makes you very tired. Fatigue sets in.
does.
So you just want to sleep. And no, this is not the normal sleep. You know, the body is disturbed. It's not the normal sleep. So nothing makes sense. In fact, one major telltale sign of depression is where nothing makes sense.
Even grooming.
That's the last thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you even feel, the clients say, they even feel pain combing the hair. They find also you may reach a point whereby you are hating yourself such that even eating is waste of food.
Yeah.
Or you reach a point you're just eating to pass time. So such that now you also find on the other side somebody may be eating a lot and they are putting on weight, but it is junk. And of course we know the chemistry of eating junk and depression. And no wonder he was on junk, chapati chai. You know that is like junk because you're eating.
You want a lot of salt and a lot of
sugar.
fat.
You see, sugars they cause false happiness because of the increase of dopamine. Just like drugs, by the way, the dopamine in the brain is secreted in huge amounts when you take in junks, and so there is a temporal relief, temporal happiness. But of course, that will have also a very downward effect on the rest, the physical body.
Yeah.
Wow. So you are coping wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
What made you believe that it's not witches and wizards and other people having killers on you? And what made you know this is a problem?
Okay. So, you know, after coming, and there are questions that she would ask. These questions would challenge me a lot.
Can you remember any?
I might not remember, but it was all about, like when I'm blaming someone, she would really ask, do you think she's the right person to blame?
Yeah.
Is it such question? I cannot remember exactly.
Would you say,
like, on one hand, Jack, you tell me that this girl is doing ABCD. But on the other hand, you have also said this and this.
Yeah.
Tell me the relationship. And he's like, oh, by the way.
Yeah. You see, so those questions we like triggered a lot of thinking, and also the writing. Because now when I was writing, I was writing, and then after writing, I would read what I've written. And it would really be, it would look like I was making, it would look, as I was writing it, it was like, yeah, she's the problem. But now, as I was reading it, it was like, you're not being realistic. You have not written anything bad about yourself. You've not.
That's the other person.
Yes, you just. So I got to a point, maybe two things, writing twice. The third one, the fourth one, I started now writing about my problem.
On the fourth one.
Yeah, on the fourth one, I started saying, even though she might look like she's the one who did this, I'm the one who started the fight by doing this and this and this. So I started now, the story started changing. And I started to see, even though she's the one, so I started to trace the source. I'm claiming she was disrespectful, but where did this disrespectfulness come from?
And what was your contribution? Are you innocent? What was your contribution on what's happening?
Yes.
You know, Pastor Jack, I want you to talk maybe to a young person.
Yes.
We have young people who they're trying relationships and they're not working.
Yes.
Like you jump from one relationship to another. This boyfriend has a problem.
Yes.
This girlfriend has a problem. Everybody has a problem except you. Let's talk about a hurt person like you are and a bitter person like you are. Getting into a relationship. What are the odds of that relationship working?
I personally think that if you had a problem if you coming out from a relationship, I think first you need to deal. And I think the best way to deal with that is therapy. Yes.
Bring to that.
Therapy.
You need to deal with you.
Because many people are coming out of relationships, 5 relationships, always saying it is
the other
guy.
person is the problem.
The other person is the problem, or the man is the problem. But of course, they are taking issues from these relationships, carrying with them to the other, taking this one and this one, carrying to the other. So you are always carrying burdens and baggage from every relationship. And so, for example, let's talk about you. 5 girls have cheated on you, or 5 men have cheated on you. The insecurity that them cheating on you will cause you even to be insecure in the new relationship you are.
Exactly.
Because you always be thinking,
even this one,
he or she will cheat on me like they did. So you have to deal with insecurities. Before you can get into any relationship, first of all, deal with anything that you know was the problem in that former relationship. Also, get to be realistic. You're not perfect, and you're not the right. You're not the best person here.
Yeah.
Relationship is for two people, and yes, he or she has a problem, but you also have a problem.
Have a problem, yeah.
Maybe something else on relationship, which maybe the young people also need to know. It's about personalities.
Yeah.
Like maybe the several cases I've had of like now the relationship, it's about personalities, the different personality type. You know, this person, for example, is choleric. You know, or melancholic, for example.
Yes.
And this other one is sanguine. You know, those two are parallel. While melancholics are tied to perfectionism, sanguines on the other hand tied to liberal, you know, free runs, kinda don't care. So this person will be them, and this other one will be them. Then of course they collide. Then the other thing that is coming up, people are keep on saying, that is the way I am, and you can't
that
change
nonsense
me.
is so
No,
bad.
you can't change yourself. The only person you can't change is the other person. But it is possible to change yourself. Because from the behaviorist theories, behavior can be learned and unlearned. So you can change yourself. Maybe while we are still with Jack's story, I think the other thing that made him even heal is telling the story. You see, the story he has told us about the journey. Now in therapy session, now you know we have
The narration.
The narration. You know the narration technique. You listening. That point here, I asked him, "Have you ever told somebody else?" No. He had never
But how
shared.
can he and he's perfect?
Yeah, he had never shared that story.
Yeah.
And I remember he didn't even link the story of childhood, the way he was brought up and bullied and all that, with the current presenting problem. He didn't see any relationship. Because that is what, again, would like people to know, that the childhood issues, they also don't go anywhere.
If you don't deal with them.
You don't deal with them. And you see, they keep on rearing their ugly head in the very wrong time, in the very wrong places, with the very wrong people. And so you may end up keeping on blaming the others, while actually it is you who is carrying that. The child in you, we still carry that. So if you are able to do it, now you find that Jack has told us about his childhood. The way they lived in that abject poverty, and actually he didn't know they were poor until the church took Unga to their home, which the church was doing a noble thing. But for him, he's like, oh my goodness, you mean we are like this? But of course, being a child, that does not register anywhere in their mind. So goes on, grows up. But there is that urge, you know, the unconscious theory. There is that unconscious urge to fight this. Never again. Will I be labeled as a poor person? And you see, one thing he did when he went to China is make a makeover, which is very good, by the way. People make over your homes. Let them be good. But we need to be aware. So he kept that. Now imagine how he's thrown out of China. He's come empty-handed with nothing, and he still wants to maintain.
So that Unga memory, even if it isn't registered somewhere, the poverty.
Here comes. You know, it is like, oh my goodness, the poverty I was running away from.
It's here now.
It's here now. But remember now, he's not seeing it in that form. So it comes in another. Now he comes to his defenses. I'm going to fight this. So in the process of fighting this, that is when now he even fights people and all that. Displacement.
Try to maintain the picture. As long as people think I'm rich, I'm okay.
Then you're okay. And you know, I wanted to talk about that, the relationship part, because you know, when you are sick, you can never attract a healthy person. Because you are looking at someone you can identify with, and the person you can identify with is another sick person. You know, it's not a healthy person, because a healthy person maybe they'll challenge you and they tell you, I don't think the way you are thinking is right. And I also think, you know, might shift. Do you know there is nothing as strong in this life as a mind shift, a mindset? I see rich people and really rich people who have, we are all rich, but there are people with big cars, big successes. Those people think so differently. I'm not saying that people think and they are poor, but those people think so differently than people who don't have anything that can show. So what you did was a change of mindset.
Yes.
What has changing that mindset, not seeing other people as a problem, and now coming back to you and like, oh, so I also have flaws. What has it done to you?
I think it has done a lot. It has made me now who I am.
Yeah.
And now it made me now to start working on myself.
Yeah.
Also, if you know, when it comes to Christianity, authority matters a lot. Even in the Anglican Church, there is the bishop, there is the reverend, there is are we together? And so now I was ready to submit under an authority, because now you cannot grow unless you submit as an apprentice of someone.
Yes.
You cannot even learn any skill until you become an apprentice.
Yes.
Are we together? So I was willing now. I started to see the willingness for me to learn. So I have now started to ask for help, to also ask for advice, counsel,
to be vulnerable,
yes,
to be you.
Yes, something I never did, and therefore, from that time, that after the therapy, my brother died, and after his death, the way I took it was so different than it would have been if I was the person I was before.
Gone through therapy.
Because now I took it as it's a part of life, and I have to accept it so that I can move on.
Yes.
Even if it was before, I would still be carrying that with me as I carried things. So one thing I learned from therapy is to let go, to accept the reality, number one, to also be willing to let go and move on. That is something I learned. Because before, I think when I was in depression, I was looking for pity. It was always like, no, unajua niko na mashida.
Who is going to rescue me?
Who's going to rescue me?
Yeah.
Even when I was even asking people for help, it would be like a long help. Unajua mimi.
Yeah.
Hata mimi nasikia sasa. It was all about, but right now it's solutions. So I have now learned to package myself on social media, everywhere. I took a sabbatical. I would say, is it a sabbatical? Yeah, I took like a break for 6 months, where now I dissolved my ministry, I dissolved everything else, and now I started now to repackage myself. Together. To now do away with the old image.
The old you,
yes.
The fake you.
The messages I was writing, because I was writing articles, I stopped writing. And now 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I re-emerged.
As a new person.
As a very new person. And within 2 months, I've gotten so many invitations from different counties. Very soon we'll be going to Isibania, a border, Kenyan border, for missions there. In July we were in Nyeri having a conference. And now I've gotten even invitations outside the country. Are we together?
Wow.
So I'm asking myself, what is it that they are seeing now?
They were not
that they were not seeing, because they're the
what
same
is the
people.
magic?
5 years ago, I mean, like 3 years ago, they were not seeing.
You are the same person.
Right together. Same person, but there's a change in mind. That's what you're saying, the mindset.
The mindset. Yeah. The way you see life.
Because now what is in the mind is what we express. As a man thinketh, so he is. So changing of mind is what people need.
Yeah. It's not even things.
No.
Just here.
When you change your mind, even your way of spending money, your way of What you see, I have shaved.
Mm.
You know what made me not to shave before?
It's the mind.
I don't
It's
know.
your head. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so even after that,
Mm.
I'm looking. People are telling me I'm looking healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there are people are telling me now you're looking different.
Mm.
What is it? You see, the change of mind can bring so much.
Mm. So talk to a pastor there, and maybe you can even tell them,
Mhm.
if you're feeling at the end of the rope,
Mhm.
it's okay to seek for help.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe you can talk to a pastor who is their head is bursting and they're projecting that to their congregation instead of making them sick.
Mm.
What can they do?
I can say this.
Yeah.
Pastors of all the people are
Yeah.
more vulnerable
Yes.
to depression.
Mm.
Why?
Yes.
Because they become a dumping site for
Mm.
problems.
Yeah.
But they don't have the mechanism.
Mm.
Are we together? To handle
Mm.
what people dump on them.
Yeah.
As a psychologist, I think you know, even when I come with problems, there's a
Mm.
way you know that you have a mechanism
Mm.
of how to not be affected by what I bring to you.
Mm.
But can you imagine now someone coming and telling you that maybe they have AIDS or they have cancer or they have what?
Mm.
And you being a pastor, God created you to be compassionate
Mm.
and also to share in people's problems.
Yes.
Are you together?
Mm.
So many pastors, they just receive so much.
Taking.
They just take in, but they
Yeah.
don't know how to protect themselves from what they hear.
Mm.
So pastors, I would say 60%, because I've dealt with pastors. I've known pastors. 60% of pastors
Mm.
are in depression.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm a pastor, I'm a man of God,
Mm.
but I'm here to tell you that spiritual things are very important,
Mm.
but they have their place.
Yeah.
Mm.
But there's also, that's why God gave us a mind.
Mm.
And a mind can only be fixed through psychology,
Mm.
through therapy.
Mm.
Mm.
That's why God gave us doctors, that's why God gave us psychologists,
Mm.
because not everything, God knew that not everything.
Mm.
We cannot pray kitu ime hapa.
Mm.
It is impossible. It's a miracle, yes, but it can happen once in a while, but it cannot.
Yeah.
Mm.
Are you together? Yes, God split the seas, but He gave us the knowledge to build bridges.
Mm.
Because He knew miracles don't happen every day.
Yeah.
Are you together?
Mm.
And one thing I'll tell you is depression it cannot go away through a miracle.
Mm.
I'll be honest with you. Maybe 1 in 100.
Mm.
Maybe a pastor will lay hands on someone and they'll be healed of depression.
Mm.
But that's a miracle. And a miracle is something that happens once in a very blue moon.
Mm.
Are you together? So I'll say this, man of God, swallow your pride.
Mm.
Swallow your, calm down.
Yeah.
Are we together? The same way you go to the hospital
Mm.
because you cannot treat yourself.
Yes.
Your home ukonayo. The same way these blessed psychologists and therapists
Mm.
have been blessed by God to treat you.
Mm.
You are not becoming any lesser
Yeah.
by going
by
to
seeking
therapy.
help.
Mm.
Yeah.
by seeking help.
Mm.
And I know you are struggling because I have been there.
Mm.
So I'm here, healed, having had depression, now healed, completely healed, back to ministry, now more productive than
Oh
ever.
yeah. Praise the Lord.
Praise the name of the living God.
Amen.
Now more productive than ever.
Mm.
All because, and you remember I had said that when I prayed for a solution, God reminded me Anne's number.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it is
Sweet.
God who led me to therapy.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then you'd still be sick. Even if you're fasting and praying like you are doing
Trust me,
earlier.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll still be sick.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the next relationship or the next job or the next whatever,
Yeah.
nothing would make sense.
Mm.
But now everything makes sense. And that's why I'm here.
Mm.
Number one, because I really want to really, really reach out to pastors
Mm.
because we have a problem.
Mm.
That's why you see men of God insulting people.
Yeah.
That's why you see men
Innocent
of God.
congregation.
Innocent, projecting. Are we together? And then another thing is the men of God also have problems at home.
Yeah.
Mm.
Marriage problems,
Children.
they need therapy.
Yeah.
They are children
Mm.
who you are projecting your problems to. Are we together? And therefore, I recommend marriage counseling and marriage therapy.
Mm.
Are we together?
Mm.
Yes, you can see your spiritual father, but your spiritual father also have problems.
Yeah.
Mm.
Are we together? So let us embrace therapy. It is very. I have done it. I'm a product of therapy. I can say that. And I will, every time I'm preaching and every time I am serving God, if God blesses me to give me a platform, I will always encourage people to
go for therapy.
Go for therapy because I am, there's no curse in it. It's not a curse. It's not going out of the way. It's not witchcraft. There are people who feel like going to therapy. It's like proof. It's like showing your faith is weak. The same way, ukienda kwa hospitali doesn't mean
you don't have faith.
You don't have faith.
Right together. You have faith in the God who created the doctors. Right together. The same way you have faith in the God who created therapy. Yes.
But then someone might be thinking that you are here to advocate and sell therapy. But you are telling us that you are praying, you are fasting, you are doing everything for 5 years. And yet, just for 10 sessions, I think those are less than 20 hours. And your head is back to your head.
Yes.
Something
that could have been, it came back to Kenya in 2018. If I came directly and I understood the importance of therapy, I would not be the same person right now. I want to tell you, I've messed up so many relationships. I've messed up so many opportunities because of depression. Because simply, I didn't see the importance of something. I devalued something I should have valued, and I valued something I should not have valued.
So I wish you well, and I know that if the way you are transformed now in your mind, we said the sky will be your floor. Not even the nene. We said the sky is the limit. Now it will be your floor. So you are being sent by Anne back into a sick world. Because you're not going to therapy doesn't mean that the people you are being cast back to, they are healed. You say that people who are supposed to be in therapy are the ones who don't go. So the people, we are the people who go, but the people who are supposed to be in therapy, they don't go. So you are being cast into the world which does not appreciate therapy and all that. So self-care and not knowing that you are changed and not mixing yourself again in the mud of chaos, because people are sick out there. So with that renewed mind, and I know that you're going to change so many lives. So many lives. Because kuna mtu atakuangalia pale. Are you married yet?
Not yet.
Are you single? Maybe you can sell you holistic therapy.
I would say that one. I'm taking my time.
You're taking your time.
Yes.
So sisters, you hear? Someone is taking that. If you are there taking your time also, you never know.
I'm taking my time.
Yeah.
Because now I would not want to rush.
What are your handles?
Okay, Facebook is Pst Jack Mburu.
That is pastor.
Yeah, pastor. It's like pastor short form. Pst Jack Mburu. YouTube is the same. Pst Jack Mburu. Instagram the same, and also Facebook is Twitter or X. Now they're calling it X.
Yes.
Is Pastor 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 Jack Mburu. Yeah.
And if they're looking for someone, maybe they want to speak to their youth, to speak maybe to your pastor. If maybe they want someone to go speak to them, you are available. And you're also available if there are people who want maybe a counselor, even for forums, So we are available to do every good work. So guys, this holistic therapy is so blessed. I don't know. Thank you so much for gracing this space today. And I also want to thank our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying here with us. And we say that the knowledge you have is not important. What you apply is what is very important. So we wish you well. We are going to give you Boro's number. I know Jack Mburu. I know it's running there. Aunt's number. I know it's running there, and mine too. So in case you need any assistance or anything, you can call us. So have a nice time until we shoot next time. We love you.
Bye.